Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Still don't know whether taking Thursdays off is a good idea for this stream or not, but yeah, it's kind of nice having a little midweek break. But here we are. It's Friday, TGIF. As you can see from our screen, market's looking very sanguine on the short term. Problem is, on the medium term, we're not really looking that sanguine yet. So can't really call any long-term bottoms with that kind of image. When both the medium and the long term look like the way the medium term looks like, then you can start thinking long-term bottoms. And if we look at the breadth information itself, you can see, we got up above that 70 level. That's usually dangerous. And we've rolled over hard here. Fast is in sort of acceleration mode. And, when it's in acceleration mode, probably not a good idea to get in front of this thing. So I'd let it settle down a bit. And we're probably going to have to work our way back down into oversold and find some sort of footing. And then we'll start the whole game all over again. For the time being, especially in the face of a huge political event coming up here in the United States of America, probably best just to cool your jets. Maybe not put on any big bets ahead of that. I think our little matrix here served us well. And the message right now, clearly a risk-off message, has been dominating since we hit this A, B, C, D, and reload zone objective. U.S. dollar's just gone screaming straight up here. Well, really, that makes sense. I mean, if it's one thing for us little schlubs, right? We got 10,000, 100,000, whatever in the market. But if you're bandaging like fucking $1 billion, are you really going to want to take too much risk into this event? I think this does make sense. Stock market kind of peeling off. And actually, stock market's starting to look really long-term dangerous, which sucks because, if the socialists all come piling into power in Washington, then you're not going to have a rip-roaring bull stock market. I mean, the two just don't go hand in hand. They're like oil and water. I do find it fascinating how I wanted to illustrate how one would effectively short the crude oil rally, minus this nonsense, looking for a move back to the 50% rule. Took like basically the whole spring and summer to try and walk you through it, and it's so ironic because I think the trade set up, like we had this little short and then we were kind of like, oh, better hop off. And then we had a big bot setup come in here. And for some reason, I just got chicken shit. And on this one little move up here, I walked out of a pretty good short idea. Ideally I want to be the demonstrator of best practices. So, hey, I can always learn and try and get better. But I thought it was just fascinating just watching that trade play out because it did basically everything that we expected. Where the hell's the crude? There it is, way over there. Well, look at that. That's what I wanted to show you guys, right? We took the short shot here, then covered it on the counter trend rally, and then you want to go back in, hit that bot, and bang. Right back to the 50% rule. But for some reason, I got chicken shit here, and I was like, well, you know what? I think we'll probably just hop off and wait for a new setup and miss the whole damn trade. Boo. Anyway, hopefully that was at nothing least, all you regular followers of this video channel, you sort of see what I was trying to demonstrate there. And that was tough, no doubt about it. But nonetheless, it did its 50% retracement as anticipated. The only issue here is, do you really want to go and short this now? Probably not. My hunch is, you got foggies down here, and here's a long-term reload zone. So there's probably some sort of stab down into this level to finish this move. I'm not really an oil fan anyway, and I can't see how if the Democrats come sweeping into power, either things like North Dakota fracking, getting more subsidies, I can't see that happening. My hunch is the propensity for things like bailouts and stuff like that's probably weakening as well. And also remember too, I don't know whether you and the public are aware of this, but Democrat presidency is usually U.S. dollar bullish. Why? Because their constituents are the working class. They want low inflation. They want, strong purchasing power of the currency. Think of the working class, right? Ironically enough, it's the Republicans, the landowners, the commodity owners, the business owners that love when the US dollar gets destroyed. So, if we do have one of these big blue waves, that also supports big US dollar rallies here. And I think I've told you, for the record, I missed this trade. Kavarkinator totally bought these calls here. What a dog. I missed this trade. Probably talking too much and not trading enough. But I am, for the record, a US dollar bull now. I have to be a US dollar bull as of the 2008 pivot, or 18, beg your pardon, 18 pivot. So that's actually right here. So ironically enough, even my US dollar bull off of that fear cycle apex. Actually, I'm still up on the trade, believe it or not. So, and actually, I think this thing's going a lot higher. But we'll see. Only time will tell. Anyway, with that said, didn't really have any new trade ideas. Everything that I see here is this is the end of this move, not the beginning. Into this political event, all of these markets, stock markets, I think it's a sell the rumor, buy the news. And interesting, I think, crypto is a perfect, and especially Bitcoin, is a perfect risk off, freak out, end of the world, kind of proxy. So I kind of like the idea of Bitcoin face ripping right into this election event. It makes perfect sense to me. The question that I have is what's the health of the broader crypto market? And they've been just getting their asses kicked lately. Which in a weird sort of way I think is good, because we don't want all of crypto, the shitcoins, everything going face rip straight up, because that's usually the sign of an end of a move. So I don't mind Bitcoin rallying up, taking out those 2019 highs, and the altcoins just sort of floundering here through this event. That actually makes perfect sense to me. So, for whatever it's worth. Anyway, back to our conversation here. What stocks I am buying right now? I'm buying conservative things, like I bought a rail stock, I bought a VCIM, a mining company. Not really playing any of the Mega F or FANG kind of names. That all looks really dangerous to me right now. Fascinating to see how even on this massive risk off day, even the bonds are still soft here. That can't be good. But I suppose they're also thinking, holy shit, if the Democrats win, here comes just a shitload of new U.S. paper, which of course helps the Bitcoin story. Dilution of the currency, massive amount of liquidity in the bond market, and for whatever it's worth, I think interest rates have rolled over now. Any kind of counter trend rallies in the interest rate market, the tell, of course, is going to be a break of this low here. But any kind of, and if that does happen, then I think we're done. But any kind of counter trend rallies now, I think, are basically shorting windows. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. And the worst part about it for the gold bugs is going to drive them crazy. But at the end of this cycle, then I have to, just because, like I said, I'm a US dollar bull, that means by definition, it just not necessarily cost of production. And I think we're way, way, way above cost of production for most of these gold mining companies. But, just sort of this asset is priced in US dollars. If the US dollar is going up, which way does this asset price have to go? So be forewarned. Now, having said that, could gold have a nice little counter trend rally up to a couple grand here again? Sure, no, why not? But you guys know my general thoughts about the gold market. I suppose if this thing W's out, I'll be thinking bullish bots, but this is the end of the story, and frankly speaking, it doesn't actually surprise me that the gold just is floundering here. I don't think it's necessarily a new sell signal. I will say we had some TRI SOFers who were hunting gold short ideas up here. So hats off to you, David. You fucking nailed that trade. And especially in the face of everybody and their brother telling you you're stupid if you're not bullish of gold. To have the balls to come in and short this up top here, and he's getting paid. Nicely done, David. Nicely done. Speaking of nicely dones, with this stock market break, and what's so funny is we had like commitments of traders reports on the NASDAQ, inside bars at Feigenbaum levels, reload zones, all that. There were lots of TRIers that actually went short there up top. So congratulations to all of you. And there was one TRIer in particular, Andre. I've talked about this guy before. Man, this guy, he's going to fucking own the world. So he went and hit that top up there. And he just rang the register today. Way to go, dude. Monster wins. So if you're not going to listen to the old man, just maybe hang around the TRI community. I mean, you guys got free 30-day trials. You can just, troll. Well, maybe not troll, but, it's really obvious at TRI when the trolls come out because they're just like, you probably don't belong here, man. Probably best to hop off. But if you want to just come and lurk in the TRI site and just ride these people's coattails, like I said, Kavarkinator kicking ass on the US dollar. Andre shorting the stocks into the fucking ground. I mean, it's beautiful. And actually today, TRI, they just knocked the fucking cover off the ball. I'm a big community kind of guy. I'm a big, we give back. And when you karmically give back with no request for remuneration for that give back, you'd be surprised what the universe does for you. And one site gentleman today who's very active in the day trading community, trading ES futures, he came and did a 45-minute presentation on order flow and inventory and trading the DOM. Oh, and I have to say, it was just the most beautiful presentation you've ever seen. Hell, fucking jump on the site, take the advantage of the 30-day trial, and just watch that presentation. That presentation alone, I told him after he'd done, I said, you could probably go and sell that for like $500 a seat. Easily. I mean, it's just that good. So, hop on the site, take advantage of the 30-day trial, and go learn how to trade the order book with Daniel today. Everybody at TRI got just an incredible treat today. It is for whatever it's worth, order book or trading with the DOM, order flow. It is part of our education program. So I even told Daniel today, I said, with that presentation, you're going to make my job in the school a lot easier because I'm just going to tell people to watch that. It was so good. Oh, goodness. Anyway, back to our story here. And interestingly enough, because we have this big political event coming up next Tuesday, you really shouldn't be taking any big bets in the market here right now anyway. So if anything, that was perfect. Everybody put on your learning caps today. We're gonna try and teach you a new concept. So beautiful. 1 + 1 = 3. Great karmic give back by Daniel. I'm sure the universe is gonna reward him well, and people on the site were like super thankful. Interesting, heading back to our conversation we're supposed to be having here today. Interesting to watch how the Russell 2000 continues to outperform the large cap stocks. And this is, I think, more of that kind of conversation of the unwinding of that mega F trade. The market just went too far. And interesting to see Google is up on the day, but you can see Apple actually came out with earnings, and unless these companies report just absolutely just stellar off the fucking curve numbers, often they get hit on half decent reports. So what I see here, and this is a commentary, like I said, I'm buying boring rail stocks, I'm buying boring VCIM mining resource names, blah blah blah, boring, trying to hunt value, all that kind of stuff. I think actually a lot of people in the market are doing exactly that right now. And also too, is there any political risk owning these big mega F when the right wing Republican pro capitalism people are running Washington? The fucking capitalists, they go nuts. Have you not seen the price of some of these stocks? That's the definition of going nuts. And ironically enough, it's their own undoing. If they had just acted a little more responsibly, if they'd even come out publicly and said, you know what, these stock prices is moving up too far, too fast, everybody slow down. Maybe don't buy our stock right now. It's kind of expensive, right? You might have actually had which is horrific, like anybody on Wall Street wants you to say that. But maybe that would have been in the best interest of them, and now they won't have fucking Washington shit all over their heads if the socialists come piling back into power. So, you reap what you sow. It doesn't surprise me what's happening with the American political situation. And Kevin said, well, why don't you just spend the whole half hour here today critiquing your Canadian view of the U.S. political system, Brian? No, we won't go there. I thought that was so funny. Let's get on to the coin, Bitcoin. I actually really do like the idea of Bitcoin face ripping up into this event. This is going to be in fact, probably in my entire lifetime, probably the most contentious political event I've seen. And of course, with the whole sickness ramping up right into that event, and then of course all this mailing ballot stuff. I mean, it's going to be fucking confusion for the next few weeks, folks. And I wouldn't be surprised in that confusion that people, I don't know whether necessarily it's going to be like people are rushing in to buy, but I could see the powers that be that have already put the bottom in Bitcoin and it's running up, and they have a vested interest in getting this fucking thing as high as possible. I could see them, jack the conversation and get this thing to really rock and roll. Remember, we said Bitcoin can never finish a move without some sort of horrendous face rip down or horrendous face rip up, and it just feels like one's coming. Anyway, let's see what happens. I think in the short term, and I put out public messages, I think we're caught in sort of a bit of a again sort of vortex, if you will, if I can find the damn chart. There it is. So I kind of like this thinking that these Gann angles are dominating us right now. I think I've talked lots in the public about this. This is a 4-to-1 angle off the top. If this thing's taken out and we resolve it bullishly, then the next stop is the 8-to-1 angle all the way up here. And angles off the bottom, 1 to 4, 1 to 3, 1 to 2. I think they kind of define support and resistance. So if we look at our boxes, we had this conversation for a while. Were we going to slam up into this 4-to-1 and just stop? And they often say, what once was resistance often turns into support. So we went blasting up through it. I don't think we could hold this angle. That was just too much. Came screaming back down into a reload zone, and then you can see the very noticeable fight. Do we want to use this line as support? I think so. I get the impression that, if you were going to draw a roadmap, this teal box sure looks solid to me. There is that crazy-ass election event. I put out a tweet yesterday sort of thinking, suggesting that, hey, probably this reload zone's going to see some action. It usually does. And also, too, on the profile, if we look at the volume profile, just looking at the distribution of volume over this range, you can actually see, it's probably better, if we just look at sort of this range, you can see there's still a little bit of work to do up here, right? Remember, the profile wants to look like a parabola before it's ready to move on to a new level. So I think right now what we're doing is we're going to go through the process of filling all the rest of this in, or just sort of banging around in this triangle. There's the event. I mean, I could totally see it. This wouldn't surprise me at all. We're sort of play around in here, and then, woohoo! into the event. So be ready, folks. That's basically what I'm thinking. Who knows? I mean, we might just out here and see you later. I doubt it, but you might. That's about all I can really say for Bitcoin. What I'm worried about here is Stanley Druckenmiller, who's a fairly large fund manager, very successful trader. I've followed him for years and years and years. In the 2016 election, gold actually had a very similar sort of chart pattern, especially up against its old highs. And the rally into that political event, he actually sold that. Now, I don't think Bitcoin looks the same. And frankly speaking, I think comparing Bitcoin to something like the stock market right now, a little bit, I don't know. I don't see the connection just at the moment. Like if we look at like risk on, risk off, they have disconnected. So I think Bitcoin's taking on a little bit of a personality of its own. Where are we here? I think it's this one. Yeah. So through this acting as sort of holy shit, the end of the world kind of thing. Stocks not happy. Oil. Too bad I fucked up that trade because that would have been a great demonstration for you guys. Interesting how the gold is just, it looks more like stocks and oil than it does looking like a fear proxy. But the yen and Bitcoin are looking similar. So, and really, I guess through the Jupiter-Saturn cross, this makes sense. All this shit should all go just haywire through this event. Then we get on the other side. People settle down. We get used to the sort of the new world. Hopefully we get a vaccine. You know, the Fugazi nonsense of the money printers goes on and on and on. Bitcoin goes to $100,000. I could live with that. Into the short term through this pivot, I don't think it's in anybody's interest to try and predict any of this. It's all over the fucking map. But I gotta say, hats off to fucking Kavarkinator for stepping in that reload zone and buying there. You son of a bitch. Way to go. Nice trade, dude. And it just goes to show half of our job here is put your opinions away. Just trade the setups. When they come in, just trade the goddamn setup and just live with the results. I remember we even talked to Kevin about this. He was like, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. I'm feeling damn uncomfortable. But wow, was he ever spot on there. Perfect. You know, and that's a trader's life for you. So anyway, I guess to finish off this offering, you know, I like the idea that Bitcoin's moving up here. Dominance still very much in control. The altcoins getting their asses kicked. If you can take advantage of the ass kicking and try and buy some cheap stuff, totally awesome. Not a bad idea. But understand the context of this market state. We won't see this market state change until we actually start getting structural signals on this. You know, my hunch is probably up in this fog and bomb area here. And like I said before, actually for the longer term crypto health of the market, actually I think this is good. You know, shit coins are shit. There's a reason why they're shit. That doesn't mean they can't go up and down in value, or price, I should say. What their value is, that's another question altogether. What should happen into the end of the year is all the failed ideas in the venture capital space, the people that invested in them through the year should liquidate, tax loss selling, and then we start the whole damn process venture capital in January 1st. So that's what I think part of what's going on here. Am I buying stuff? Yeah, I got some stink bids getting filled. I thought it was interesting this VTC actually gave me a fill here. I was a little surprised at that, but did a bit more buying there last week. So now my average cost is being brought down, and I don't know, you tell me if this thing ever gets its act together, has it got any chance to make me some money? Now my average is down in there. And this is just one of those slowly nibbling away, nanny nibbles, little old lady strategy. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff I do in these kind of markets. I don't have any sort of pound the tables, you gotta buy this thing today. No, nothing like that. Okay, so there's your market summary. Sure hope you enjoyed that. Let's see what kind of face rips we got in store. There is the Jupiter-Saturn cross that's supposed to happen December 21st. We have this political event, kind of nonsense. We might see some play all through this. But ultimately, I'm thinking the corn wants to move up into that event. And I wouldn't even be surprised if the stock market also moves up into that event. And then, like I said, that'll be the end of the tax year. So if the Democrats sweep this election, get ready, because 2021, the whole landscape changes. But who knows? That's still a few days away. Maybe on the Broiler Chicken Show on Sunday, we might have a little bit better levels to talk about. But right now, it's basically still pointing up, hasn't broken down. And slow and steady wins the race. And get ready for that big face rip that usually happens near the end of these moves to mark the end of whatever this rally is. I don't think it's here yet. So, okay, well, that's about it for me, folks. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day. All the best. And bye for now.